Firstly, I really do feel terrible for all the Quadriga users that have money tied up on the exchange during this whole fiasco. I'm making this video to quickly summarize what's going on with the whole situation, as I know many Canadians, my people, are unfortunately affected by it. The issues leading up to this day began back in January 2018 when CIBC froze Quadriga's bank accounts holding $28 million. So all throughout 2018, this created Canadian dollar withdrawal and deposit issues on the exchange. However, there were still some withdrawals and deposits being processed, keeping people optimistic and keeping the exchange afloat. And we know this because there were users posting in the Quadriga subreddit stating whether they'd received their withdrawals or not. There are a ton of posts that you can look through on Reddit. Anecdotally, I can add in that I received 4 withdrawals in the first half of 2018 from Quadriga, and I also had 2 friends who received withdrawals in the second half of 2018. This tells us that Quadriga definitely was still processing some payments, although many people were still complaining on the subreddit, and the payments that were successful often took much longer than they should have. Despite all the fiat dollar issues, the crypto deposit and withdrawals were still running smoothly on Quadriga. Now, this is where things really start to get interesting. On November 9th, 2018, there was a court hearing between CIBC and Quadriga. The court hearing confirmed that Quadriga really did have these funds frozen in its account, but they were frozen because this man here, Jose Reyes, transferred a portion of the disputed funds to his own personal accounts with CIBC. So he took some funds from this Quadriga transaction account and transferred them into his own personal account. Now, Jose Reyes is the man in charge of the companies BillerFi and Custodian Inc. And these 2 companies are in charge of carrying out all of the fiat dollar withdrawals for Quadriga. If we scroll down, we see that Reyes transferred $1.3 million to his personal checking account and another $1 million to his personal savings account. And what happened was CIBC probably said, hold on. You can't just transfer $2.3 million out of Quadriga's transaction account into your own personal account without giving us any information or lead. So CIBC just decided to freeze Quadriga's transaction account with 20-something odd million dollars in it. And on February 16th, 2018, CIBC wanted to speak with someone at Quadriga about the disputed accounts. The CEO of Quadriga, Gerald Cotton, had indicated that he was not interested in speaking with anyone at CIBC. Then later on March 15th, 2018, CIBC sent an email to Cotton asking to speak with him briefly. He declined and requested that CIBC send questions to him in writing. Now, don't you find it odd that Cotton, the CEO of Quadriga, indicated he was not interested in speaking with anyone at CIBC when they're holding up millions and millions of dollars from his customers? Something doesn't add up here to me. Anyhow, the case was sent to the Superior Court of Justice, and on December 3rd, 2018, it was seemingly resolved as the court ordered that the frozen funds shall be immediately released to respondent Custodian Inc. So remember, Mr. Jose Reyes owns Custodian Inc. So now those funds were released to Jose Reyes, and things started looking up for Quadriga and its users waiting for their withdrawals. They updated their Reddit on December 4th saying the funds that were held hostage by CIBC for nearly a year are being released, and they also said the funds should be paid out by the end of this week. Fast forward to January 14th, 2019, Quadriga puts out a statement saying that founder and CEO Jerry Cotton has unfortunately passed away, and this is in the midst of people still complaining about not receiving their withdrawals that were promised back in December from this update. And this is really where things start becoming sketchy. Here's the statement released from his wife, Jennifer Robertson. And it states that Mr. Cotton died due to complications with Crohn's disease on December 9th, 2018 while traveling in India. Now, I'm not one to falsify the claim of his death. However, there are many people pointing towards an exit scam, and it's definitely still plausible at this moment. And here's why. There remains no independent verification of his death. There's no obituary, there is no certificate of death, there are no photos of his body. Ultimately, there is zero evidence that has been seen by users of the exchange. Secondly, Mr. Cotton died from Crohn's disease, which isn't considered a fatal disease in general, and after doing some research, of course, it appears that it's a very rare disease to succumb to at the young age of 30. He also had the time to travel to India while his exchange was having all these issues. If you think about it, what better place to go would there be than India if you're trying to run away, escape from the world, and take other people's cryptocurrency along with you? Additionally, Cotton's footprint has been completely erased from the internet. Even his LinkedIn profile is gone. In this recent article from the Globe and Mail, we know that Mr. Cotton signed a will less than 2 weeks before he died. He appointed his wife as the executor of his estate and outlined the distribution of his assets, including an airplane, 2 properties, and 2 pet chihuahuas named Nitro and Gully, along with $100,000 for their care. You need to ask yourself, is this all just a big fat coincidence? Does Cotton just happen to sign a will less than 2 weeks before he dies? It's possible, but the circumstances surrounding his death seem pretty suspect. Quadriga announces Cotton's death over a month after it happens, and between the time of his death and this statement, withdrawal limits are imposed on the exchange. This resembles that they have some serious internal issues brewing, and during this time we see someone buy 300 Bitcoin for 25% above the market rate. What does this tell us? Well, we can infer that this trader was willing to lose a large chunk of money by bidding 25% above the market rate to ensure that he was able to get his money off the exchange before all of this happened. This whale knew something was up. On January 28, 2019, Quadriga's website went down without explanation, which is oddly reminiscent of the events preceding Mt. Gox's eventual implosion. And then on the 31st, when you go to their website, they released this statement saying they've filed for creditor protection. What this means is that if you had money on the exchange, you're considered a creditor. By law, the goal of creditor protection is that the creditors receive some form of payment. The message also states that they're attempting to locate the very significant crypto reserves held in cold wallets, but the efforts have not been successful. In the most recent installment, an affidavit from Jennifer Robertson, Jerry's wife, has been released, and I'm just going to traverse through the important points. Like all exchanges, Quadriga had hot and cold wallets. Hot wallets held a small amount of coins readily available for transacting, while cold wallets held the majority of coins in a very secure manner. Now, Part I states that the transfer of coins from the cold wallet to the hot wallet was performed manually by Jerry. If we scroll down a bit more, we can see that this affidavit states that approximately 115,000 users held balances in their personal accounts representing either cash or crypto. It says Quadriga currently owes affected users 70 million, I guess this is the cash portion, plus crypto valued at $180 million. So in total, they owe $250 million to the users of the exchange. These are the balances of crypto that they owe. So we can see that they owe 26,488 Bitcoin. Jeez. That's roughly over $100 million worth of Bitcoin. We also see about 200,000 Litecoin, 430,000 Ethereum. Bottom line, they do have a lot of crypto that they owe users. I should reword that. I don't know if they have it, but they owe users quite a lot of crypto. On page 8, we see that Custodian, Mr. Reyes' company, has not been able to find a banking institution to accept the bank drafts. That's understandable. And then they say here that Quadriga has access to approximately 30 million in bank drafts. Once the bank drafts are accepted for deposit, they're first going to be used for, I guess, court hearings, and then the residual balance of these funds combined with net recoveries from other sources will be made available to satisfy the creditors, aka you if you had holdings in the exchange. Now, things aren't looking too great at the moment because they have 30 million, but they owe users 250 million. So they have about 12% of what they owe users at this point. Keep going down here. At 0.62, they say that a laptop from which Jerry carried out the business is encrypted, and no one seems to know the password or recovery key. It seems like this laptop probably has some funds on it, but no one's able to access it. Quadriga's attempted to access the cold storage. They even hired an outside expert to try and hack into Jerry's computers, but they haven't had any success. In addition, an encrypted USB key has been provided, which has not yet been able to be accessed. Lastly, there should be an excess of 180 million of coins in cold storage, which is still inaccessible thus far. I'll leave a link in the description to this document. So there's likely three possibilities out of everything that's ensued. Firstly is Quadriga's narrative, where Jerry has actually passed, and there should be 180 million in crypto assets in the cold wallets, but they don't have access to the cold wallets because Jerry was the sole man in charge of them, operating them from his laptop. The next possibility is that this is a big exit scam, and Jerry has fled the country to India with access to the cold wallets. He's stolen millions worth of crypto, finessing all the users who had crypto on his exchange. The third possibility, and this one I think carries most merit as of now, Quadriga chewed off more than they could. They were operating on a fractional crypto reserve for as long as they could. They became insolvent, and Jerry Cotton ran away from his responsibilities. And the reason why I think this is what has happened is because Cotton appeared to do everything, even including securing 100,000 in funding for his chihuahuas before his death. How come Jerry didn't think of a contingency for the cold wallet private keys, but he seemed to have a plan for everything else? So the answer to all this is really simple. All Quadriga needs to do is just post the public keys to these cold wallets to prove that they have some assets. This is what the blockchain was made for, transparency. This alone would alleviate any doubts surrounding Jerry Cotton, as we'd know if any coins were leaving the cold wallets after his death on December 9th, 2018, then someone has access to the keys. Alright, thank you for watching, guys. I'll be making more videos if there are any updates on this case. Please comment below in regards to what you think is going on. And in the meantime, be prudent because crypto is the wild, wild west.